Good evening, everyone. Can we close our eyes and bow our heads? Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you, Lord, for this time. We are grateful for the gift of life. We are grateful that we could be found in your presence. Lord, as we gather, we ask the Spirit of the Lord to lead and guide us to every truth that we need in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, my sister. Thank you, Coco, for our opening prayer. Family, welcome to our week 9. Glory goes to our own might for our well-beings and for this platform. May He open our minds. May He speak through our lips, our voices, our spirits. In Jesus' name, amen. Family, here we are again, where we gather as one family, engage on different topics that affect and influence our well-beings or a challenge in our respective journeys, where we let our respective spirits speak through us. Family, many of us mourn differently when we lose our loved ones. We seek for the place of comfort where we believe we can connect with them and where we can lay them to rest in peace. Automatically and logically, where we have put their final physical beings become the main place where we go visit for unanswered questions, reasons of their departure, why they left us so soon or without certain things having been done, completed, or and we get overwhelmed by all these emotions and we go to the graveyards. Family, what is the impact of visiting the graves? How does it affect our spirit, our spirituality? How can it affect our spirits? What is good or bad about it? Please assist me in welcoming our guest that we are now starting to be familiar with, whom we all look forward to whenever he is booked to share his wisdom with us, whom his life is dedicated in grounding us to our Africanism. Please welcome Mkhulu Nzingiza, who will allow him his spirit to share a message on visiting the graves, where he is, whenever he's ready to take a question or our questions, he will engage so. And we'll raise our hands, ask questions, seek clarity, and express our gratitude and engage with him. Thokoza Mkhulu, and welcome to our family date.
Thokoza, yes, I know. Siyabonga ukuthola lethuba again ukuthi sihlangane sizoxazulula or sibonisane about different things, indlela abantu abazibona ngayo. So I'm very honored to be here.
Thokoza Mkhulu. Yes, you can. You may share, and we're not gonna interrupt you until you say we may ask questions. And yes, thank you.
Yes, I think the point of departure should be that Tina singumoya. We are not a body. A body is the container of the spirit. So umoya never dies. Umoya awufi. It's a tried and tested belief system yokhokho bethu. Yingakho bathi abantu mase bedlulile kulomhlaba basemathongweni, meaning ukuthi balele abafanga. So yingakho ke mesikhuluma amagama abo, we are creating the necessary vibrations ukuconnecta nabo, because bayawezwa those vibrations mesilokho sibiza amagama. silokho sikhuluma nabo. And another thing ukuthi okhokho bethu, they valued, you know, and understood what we know as carbon melanin. Carbon melanin is that you know, chemical that also acts as a receiver and a sender of messages. So that chemical is very important noma umuntu engasekho, meaning ukuthi nasemathanjeni, you know, that thing is attached because melanin or the carbon, this is what we are made of. So manje ke okhokho went to an extent ukuthi for them to preserve, you know, that chemical, you know, in the system yomuntu noma sengasekho eshonile, was to benza lento bayibiza ukuthi mummification. They mummified, you know, their bodies so that thina esisasele kulomhlaba wenyama, we are able to communicate with them, basizwe nathi sibezwe, you know, by you know, giving certain signs to us, which then confirms of you know, their presence and existence. So ingakho ke okhokho bethu, I mean, you know, this tradition of siko lolu spans over, you know, centuries. Imagine ke ukuthi umuntu omnyama mdala kangakanani. So it's something le eyaqala kudala mandulo. It's a tried and tested system of you know, perception nje about life. Ukuthi thina, which the fundamental you know, principle was that singumoya. So energy, even nabelungu, they tell you that you can't destroy energy. So meaning ukuthi, remember ukuthi we live, you know, in 3 dimensions. There is the causal plane, the astral plane, and the physical. So everything that manifests in the physical starts in the causal as well as you know, the astral plane. So meaning ukuthi mengishona mina umoya wami, you know, awufi, is eternal. You know, umoya wami keeps, you know, renewing into different forms all the time. So in the etheric, you know, sphere, the existence yami will be forever there. That is why, as an example, abantu zothola ukuthi mebeye emathuneni. It's just that, you know, sibakhumbula okhokho bethu namadlozi ethu, amathongo ethu mesisenkingeni. You know, it's very rare ukuthi umuntu ayovakasha lapha emathuneni makumnandi. Bakhona abantu abakwenzayo lokho, but the majority yabantu baya lapha mebe faceana nenkinga when there's no other, you know, solution or alternative. Then they go back to that spirit to say, please ngicela uncede, ngidinga lokhu nalokhu nalokhu nalokhu. And there's been several incidences whereby abantu report ukuthi after they visited their loved ones emathuneni, you know, this is what manifested, you know, in their reality. So that confirms, you know, ukuphila kwalo moya. Umoya uyaphila, umoya never dies, and umoya is forever conscious, you know, ukuthi kwenzakalani. So the reason why thina siphila, siyaphila because, and you know, siyaphila because lo moya uyaphila. As I explained, maybe, you know, the last time, ukuthi every, you know, sense, essence yami. When I'm looking at you, sikhuluma nje kanje, amehlo ami are just an instrument for the spirit that resides within me. So into ebonayo ilo moya. So we understand ukuthi lo moya unconscious. Why? Because we are actually sure which we are alive because of you know, lo moya. So inkolo ke leyo yase Africa from amandulo before abelungu befika la bezosikhohlisa basitshela ukuthi indaba yamathuna ayisebenzi. You know, for me, you know, sonke sakhula, you know, being affected by such things, but you know, you then mawukhula, you come to the realization ukuthi reality says umoya awufi. Therefore, ukhokho wami, ubaba wami bekephila emhlabeni akulona idemon. Umoya that is conscious ophilayo, I can connect nalo moya for anything that you know I want to connect you know with the spirit for. So ilapho makela okwamanje nje ngama lapho and you know until mhlambe kunemibuzo whatever for me to further explain.
Thokoza Mkhulu. So anyone can raise their hands and then if you wish to ask a question. But Mkhulu, while believing that the spirit it doesn't die, and why do I have to go to the grave in connecting with my mom's spirit? Why can't I just talk to her in the car, in the kitchen, in the shower, and anyway? Why do I have to go to the grave? Because that's where I let the body, the physical being, and then but the spirit is all over, or is everywhere.
Shokuthi lokho kusemqoka ngoba njengoba usho umoya is everywhere. You can connect nalo moya anywhere, but it's even more special when you visit them. You know, bayakubona, remember ukuthi it's just a gesture that they are looking at and they appreciate. So that is a very, very special thing ukuthi nala bekhona bayasho ukuthi hey ingane yami ayingilahlanga. You know, remember ukuthi before okhokho bethu, especially le Kemet, they would build their grave basaphila. Grave, you know, yokhokho bethu, it was like a house. You know, meaning ukuthi makufika ibirthday yakhe lo muntu or important dates, you know, that affect the whole of you know the spiritual system, the matrix of the spirit. People go there and actually communicate nalo muntu loyo as if they are alive. So it's very important, you know, for us to keep on, you know, visiting them. Akusho ukuthi uma ungayilapha, then there's no communication. There is a communication, but I believe ukuthi it's much stronger when you visit there. It's like a gesture. Ifana nani lento le yokuthi let's say kuyohlawula ingane. So into esemqole na ingane ubaba noma umama bashadana. Manje le ngane kumele ihlawule. What is important, it's not the money that is left la kuyohlawulwa khona. The most important thing igesha ukuthi abako laba abanecala kulomuzi banyathele kulo muzi bazobhula lo mlilo. That is the most important thing. Leso senzo sokunyathela. So I would you know liken to that you know into yasemathuneni ukuthi yes, you can communicate nomzali wakho, ugogo wakho, umkhulu wakho nje, you know, anytime because bawumoya. But it's even more special when you visit them because that connection they truly appreciate.
Thokoza Mkhulu. My belief and my belief and the danger around that, and then so in visiting the graves, and which I need assistance or maybe the clarity on such, maybe with the difference that with family graves, yes, the connection is like that because it's just the family spirits that are laid in those graves. But with the public graveyards, and my belief is that when you are not aware or you're not spiritually gifted and you go to a certain grave and to your mother's grave, for example, and then so when you go to your mother's grave and then so you introduce yourself and usually you're like, Mama, this is me, and Norma, your daughter, and all that. And then so what about the spirits? I believe that the body needs the spirit and the spirit needs the body. Now I'm presenting the body at the graveyard and exposing it to any other spirits that are seeking to get somebody to get attached to. How can you be protected from such? Is it not maybe visiting the grave exposing you to some dangers of a certain woman that will now get attached to your body and present itself as your mother, and then you carry that spirit home, and then so at some point it will act like your mother, and then at some point, and then so it start revealing its true colors. Why is on earth seeking for the body, and it start using you. And then so how can you maybe explain that part for us?
Okay, the first part that you mentioned, Qiniso, says it create ama sim edu, which is an African yinto beyingenziwa, but because of the condition yethu thathela umhlaba yonke lento, we're then squeezed into all these inhumane settlements. That is why we find ourselves in that situation. But lento ukuthi uzongenwa umoya ulapha ayikho wena gogo. Sikhula nje siyenza thina leyo nto leyo. After some time uyaya lapho lenduze angaze ngako experience, because this has been my whole life. Leyo nto leyo. Okhokho bethu, we're doing it. Yes, kuhlangahlangene lapha imimoya ehlangahlangene, but well, I haven't experienced it. Maybe that's why ngisho ukuthi I cannot talk about that, because it hasn't been a reality in my life, and the kade ngihamba mathupha. Yes.
Anyone with a question?
Enye into gogo, remember ukuthi siphila nje singabantu, siphila according to the dictates zobubili, duality of life, meaning ukuthi siphila nje with the negative and the positive, right? So it's all up to umuntu ukuthi yena, because this is what normally happens. Abantu don't want to take responsibility. They would rather blame ukuthi ungenwe umoya othize, that is why agcine yenza nezinto azenzile which are negative, because it's your choice. You are confronted by that choice every day, whether you do good or you do bad. So when amawudonsa from the negative side, wenza izinto ezingalungile, that is your own choice, because those energies are there. Naturally we can't destroy the negative force, because the negative force, it's a necessary force. Remember Gucci, for there to be a spark of electricity, you need both the negative and the positive. There's got to be that a challenge to create that spark. And the nathi singabantu, we would never be able to walk without that opposing force. So the opposing force is forever with us, and you can't get rid of it. The only thing that you need to do, leyo nto meyifika enegative, la ekhemithina siyibiza ngokuthi uset unendawo yakhe. You always ubeka uset endaweni yakhe ukuthi ngiyakuzwa ukhona, ufuna ngilandele the negative thought lefikayo, but he said na indawo yakho, mina I'm not going there. I choose to go with Heru. You understand? The positive force of earth, it's there. That is the duality, meaning ukuthi everything that is created on earth, it is obligated to follow that duality. Then control, it's upon us. How do you control? Umuntu that would always do negative things, then beseke uhamba uyoblamana nemimoya lapha. It's all up to, decision yomuntu.
What are the do's and the don'ts when you visit the graveyard? Especially, I'll more focus on the public ones, so as opposed to the ones that we have at home, because I think they're less, in my view, they are less. You are less vulnerable when you visit the graves that don't have other spirits around. What are the do's? What can anyone that is vulnerable, that is, because not as maybe then, as Mkulu says, that some people are more on the negative side of our spirituality. So for those people, what are the do's and don'ts when we visit the graves?
Okay. Before ngiya lapho, yabona mele sicacise le lentuza vulnerability. Remember thina sikholelwa ukuthi if ungenasikweletu someone, nothing will happen to you because unamadlozi nawe self. Amadlozi akho should actually fight to ward off any negative thing that is supposed to come to you. And enye into that affects abantu kakhulu ile nkolelo nje ukuthi mina ngaloyeka. The minute you believe in that, then you are opening yourself to all these negative spirits that are there. Remember, Gucci, the negative spirits are there. And some of them, who have departed from earth, kulaba abantu who were trapped in the 3rd degree, in terms of amachakra, they were not able to ascend to the 4th degree. They come back, and some of them yiyo le mimoya le egcina affect abantu ngendlela. But all I know in my whole life, ngatwasa ngaba inyanga, you get all sorts of threats, whatever ebantwini. But the minute you believe ukuthi wena you can be bewitched, ungathakatheka, then you are just opening yourself up to that. All you have to do, it's all in your mind. Know ukuthi akekho umuntu ozokuthinta as long as amadlozi akho asame nawe. Nobody will do anything negative to you.
Yes, that's very true, Mkulu. So, but also the reality, a couple of people or many people believe that they can be affected by witchcraft. And how can one assist as we as family? And then so we getting this education or wisdom today. So, but some of the people are not here. And what do you say to a person that really strongly believe that he can be affected by anything, witchcraft, going to the graveyards and all that? And then so how can you influence a person that has got those beliefs to actually have a balance of positive and negative of such spirits?
Look, Mina, I would say, Gucci, change your belief system. That is the first step that you need to do. Any that surprises Gucci. Konke lokuloya and ukubhiwitshwa sibheke kakhulu ebantwini abamnyama, as if ezinye inhlanga azikwazi ukwenza lokho. Do you understand? Abelungu basiloye ngokomqondo, which is worse than lento yabantu abayisabayo yabantu abamnyama. That is nothing. Umlungu for hundreds of years usiloye umqondo, but we are going there willy-nilly. Why? Because we believe ukuthi umlungu uNkulunkulu. And the reality said, umlungu ne-culture yakhe puts food on the table. So i-belief system yakho ukuthi noma ngabe kunjani, you will never be wished by umlungu, which is a wrong part. You know that lokho kuthakatha, when you think about umuntu omnyama already, there's that thing ukuthi there's a possibility ukuthi angiloye lo muntu lo. And then the minute you open up umqondo wakho to such things, then njengoba ngisho, a lot of things they start happening to you. So the best thing, change your mindset. The way you think, ukuthi the negative forces of vela ngakuphi, awukubukisise, be circumspect, ubuke yonke indawo. Ungabuki nje from one direction because ubheka udaki ukuthi uzokuloya kanti nangu umlungu, nali India, nali China. Bakuloya bakugadla ngezinto zabo ongazi-understand. So that perception has got to actually change. Abantu abamnyama, mina what I know, abaloyi, they are scientists, they understand nature. So some of them, abuse that knowledge, but bukisisa kahle ukuthi umhlaba uso. Umuntu omnyama is in this condition today, not because of umuntu omnyama. It's because of ezinye inhlanga that have put us, in this condition. Baloya iniqala umqondo wethu for us to behave and think like slaves. So we need to liberate ourselves from that, thinking, because Leo thinking I see sindawo, because that's the thinking ends ukuthi singabi united. Siyasolana. Mengukubona uvela lapha sengivali window njengabelungu ukuthi ungenzeka wena uzongenza into embi, and umuntu uyadlulela nje estradini. It's because of the belief system that anything negative is associated nomuntu omnyama. So we need to change that mindset.
It wasn't cool. There's this thing that that is on the witchcraft side, that you can buy the spirit. You go to a certain a witch doctor that says you must have a 20 cents for a example, and then and go and buy a grave where a person was a soldier. And then you get a certain spirit to fight for you. And then when you visit that grave, you'll find that the spirit has been bought. How true that is? What are the practicality of that? And then so when you visit that grave, you'll find maybe some 20 cent or some white coin, because usually it's white coin, and some white coin on your loved one's graveyard. How can Mkulu explain that part?
Okay, no. Leyo ukuthi buka, kahle mina, I've been hunting for people who are able to do such things.
Yeah.
Ukuthi, bathenge umoya womuntu ase on the grave. That is the science, mina, that I want to experience myself. So ever since ngathwasa, I've been looking for leyo milingo nabantu who do such things. And from kumanje nje akatholi lutho. Inkulumo nje legcwele ukusatshiswa abantu. Angali, remember ukuthi umuntu uloya ngenhliziyo. Ngakuloya ngenhliziyo ongayenzanga lutho. Do you understand? But ukuthi manje sengi kidnapper ispirit sakho, that is a powerful science. Le mina ngifuna uku-experience wena gogo ngoba if leyo nto leyo ikhona, we really need to identify such people so that we understand that technology, that science. Singayuzeli the negative side, but use just to be able to advance as a collective, of Black people. So, the opinion nami lapho wena gogo, kade uyazi kunale nkulumo kaMatindane. Kuthiwa kunoMatindane. Kukhona umuntu ongakakhela uMatindane, or umuntu ongakakhela igundwane ukuthi lolanda imali lapha
Bank.
you know inkulumo egcwele leyo kakhulu wena gogo mina ngiyayizwa le nkulumo and my interest it's the science ukuthi bayenza njani le if ngamthola abantu abanjalo bayenze practical kimi then ngizoyibelieve leyo okwamanje hayi angikahlangani nabo labantu laba gogo.
No, Thokoza Mkhulu, I also haven't come across that science. I have come across though the science of lightning and seen it working and practically. So
Sure.
unfortunately, it was taken away from me before I learned it. Apparently, my spirit sent a message to my trainer that I must not be taught that kind of a firearm, and I might misuse it. So I was robbed of such science.
Yes, that is the science. Uyabona leyo yemvula yombani. I believe le makhaya yenzeka kakhulu. Abantu bashaya. Yikho ngithi le science le ekhona abantu bayuza ngendlela wrong. Labo bantu must then remember ukuthi before thina. That is why Africans were very strong. Bebesihlonipha all over the world. Why? Because we understood the laws that govern the universe. Bengazi ukuthi mengenza kanje nakanje ngihlanganisa lokhu ngalokhu ngesikhathi esiso, these will be the results. I mean besikhona ukuthi sinezinyanga zangempela ukhona ukuthi abantu babone impi sasele Witbank ingakafiki nala. And bathumela inyosi labo ingafiki la. Labantu babathumele ngenyosi batinyele sekude leyo nto leyo. So that is the science Africans bebephila ngayo. You know, it was a very natural thing. You know, it's just that enye into uma uyuza I'd like to warn there. If you understand the laws that govern the universe and wena uziuser on the negative side, inkinga izoba kuwe. Do you understand? Because manje uphethe le power. Instead wena ukuthi use on the positive side and make sure ukuthi everybody, you know, benefits out of you know, the science and the technology, ancient technology that you have. Ungabi-ke, you know, nalento kuba greedy ukuthi no mina ngizobavithiza. You know, ngizodila nabo. Why? Because I happen to have, you know, these you know, secrets of the universe. So lobo-ke ubusathane bangempela-ke mawucabanga kanjalo ngoba these powers must be used to assist umuntu omnyama to better life yomuntu omnyama. So any knowledge that or user to the detriment of our people. And yazi into engixakayo labantu laba bazoloya thina asinalutho uzobenefitani ngokuloya thina. Yingakho mina zonke lezi zinto ngiyazizwa wena gogo. Abantu bayakhala all the time. You know, ngeke ngafukungelwa mina inyanga more than 40 or 50. But bafuna ukungiqumba phansi ngathi ngeke bakubone lokho. As long as amadlozi ami asaphila amile ngingenasikweletu somoya akekho umuntu ongangenza nithi. Ungayohamba uyolanda inyanga yakho seMalawi Zambia u-import. Nothing will happen to me. Because of leyo belief ukuthi angikholelwa mina ukuthi ngaloyo.
So what about this thing that when you go, you can go to the grave and take somebody's soil, you know, so and use it for whatever, whether in a positive way or in a negative manner. And then so what does that mean? You know, so I'll make an example. I remember when I got initiated the first time I went home, and my initiator Ukobela said we need to go to my family graveyard and get the soil and sprinkle it at my home in Joburg. And then so since, you know, so then I'm distant from them, so that there's that connection between myself, and it's like in Genisa Madluzi, you know. So, and at that time I was not familiar with number of things, so I had just been initiated, and then so, but my spirit didn't really feel right about that. And then so how can you say no to a Kobela that is taking that? How can that affect you if let's say you are unable to say no to your initiator, to your elder?
No, okokuqala nje inhlabathi yasemathuneni ayikho right ukuthi ingene ekhaya. Yingakho uma ubuya emathuneni uyageza. Kumele kube nentelezi lapha egeyidini ugeze. Ugeze lo moya loyo. Enye into wena Gogo, uyabona if leyo nto leyo be exist ngempela ukuthi abantu bayoganga ngamathuna abantu yonke lento, hayi labo bantu ngabe basiqedile isizwe. Half of us wouldn't be alive if leyo nto beyisebenza. So ezinye izinto kumele siyibuke ngoba uyazi kukhona nabantu well ngizokhuluma nangeenyanga, kuney'nyanga nje ezithanda ukusabisa abantu. Akutshele all sorts of things ukuthi mina ngenzani. Kepha uma umbuka lo muntu ugcwele inhlupheko. Unalama powers aclaim ukuthi unawo, but inhlupheko not only physically but spiritually. So uthola ukuthi nje abanye bagaxa ubuhlalo obuningi baloko babhodla indendende labangaqedi just to intimidate abantu. Uyayibona angali ukuthi zikhona inyanga eziright, kepha bukhona nobutsotsi. Yazi abantu isimo sesishintshile. Ubunyanga, especially why? Because ubunyanga has become like a business. Ubunyanga is never supposed to be business because kula ugcina sowenza lezi zinto ezi-wrong, attracta izinto ezi-wrong, affect abantu kunokuthi balapha. Ubunyanga is not supposed to be business. Mele wenze ibhizinisi yakho esayidini and keep ubunyanga pure. Ungathi mawungena la uzohlola sengibuka ukuthi udriver, then sengiyakala ukuthi lo ngamchacha kanjani. Ungcolisa idlozi lakho moyenza njalo. Angithi kukhulu khona lento bayibiza ngayibizani zindikhama. Chokuthi lento yenzayo will come back and deal with you one day. Especially remember ukuthi abantu bebeza kuwe bazofuna uncedo. So wena moba abuser, you are not making icala emadlozini akho, kepha wenza icala emadlozini alomuntu. Yazi kungcono ukuthi usebenzele ukuthi ubongwe amadlozi abo, ngoba wena uzoba robha i-10 rand kanti idlozi lakhe lo muntu likubekela imiliyoni immediately uqeda ukumlapha. So manje abantu who don't have the foresight and understanding ipower yomoya, ukuthi ipower it's not in physical action, ilapha emoyeni. Uyazi uzothi one day uthi usendaweni la bathi bayanquma khona ikhanda, idlozi lalo muntu lisukume lithi ngeke umenze kanjani lo muntu ngoba lo muntu wenza kahle, ngithumela ingane yami kuye. So i-fortification is lapho, spiritual fortification. Be good to people, be humble, and they always try to yazuzame ukwenza good. In that way, we are fortifying yourself, spiritually. So maloko wenza izinto ezi-wrong, something wrong is definitely going to happen to you.
It wasn't good. There's this thing that when you pass on from the car accident, umzimba walo muntu is not supposed to go home, and then so everything must be done, the rituals and the services must be done outside the family, and then so straight to the graveyard. And this thing that when your spirit, when you pass on, so at the hospital, fanele bakulande ngehlahla and leli hlahla, some people they take it to the graveyard, and then so some they take it to Msam or at home, so wherever they call Msam. Where exactly it has to be taken, the spirit, where is it supposed to be? Can you explain those angles, like the car accident story, and then so, and or not just the accident, but in angles, like it can be the firearm or and stuff. So if it's not a natural death, let me put it that way, and then so you're supposed to be not to come at home because don't ingozi for those who are still alive. How can you explain that part?
Ngizofaka umkhokha ekhaya. Buka, you know, ngokwesiko vele kuyenzeka lokho ukuthi mawushonele estradini kumele vele kutholakala umlahlankosi umphafa.
Yes.
Sona, you know, lesihlahla lesi. Lesihlahla lesi kahle kahle uba yamadlozi abantu abangasekho, meaning ukuthi kula ucelwa khona ukuthi ugibele kulesihlahla somlahlankosi umphafa. Uma let's say ushone namhlanje kumele ungcwatshwe kusasa, kumele ifamily izame ukwenza leyo ritual ukuhlanganisa umzimba nomoya wakho. Yabona. Kanti futhi njengasesibhedlele mawuhambele esibhedlela umoya wakho akumelanga undinde. Do you understand? Yileyo nkolelo ukuthi umoya ondindayo ulokho ufunana nekhaya lawo. Yiwo lemimoya egcina mhlambe i-affect abantu, you know, very negatively. So manje umuntu uyalandwa esibhedlela, you know, meke landwa ke esibhedlela, meke yongcwatshwa kumele kungcwatshwe nalelo hlahla. Because angithi nimhlanganisile, that was a transport, you know. So manje ke wena Gogo, as an example, ukhona ukhokho wami Matiwane, you know, he was one of the kings Zamangwane, a very powerful king. Washona almost 100 and something years ago, but now elokhe vela lapha ekhaya eBigville ebantwini, you know, what abahlukile nje ukuthi hey kumele azolwa alandwe la ekhona. So into science samlanda ngawumphafa lo mlahlankosi esawuthola vele lapha egqumeni likaMatiwane, khona indawo lapha eMgungundlovu kuthiwa igquma likaMatiwane esigodlweni sikadingana. So samlanda ngawo kumphafa. Umphafa ke emlahlankosi lo saya nawo phakathi esigodlweni siyomfaka lapha, kepha kuthe the day amakhehla ke esedecideile ukuthi kumele ke manje abuyiselwe endaweni yakhe lapha ehlathini lamakhosi, kwenzeka lokho. Umphafa ke nawo ke bawuthatha ke bawusa ke lapha elenduza ngoba sekuhamba baini, sekuhamba umoya ugibele kuphi kulomlahlankosi. So yenzeka leyo nto leyo is very important ukuthi yenzeke, and may yenzeka, let's say utransport umuntu from Swaziland to South Africa, wena ke uphethe lo umlahlankosi awukhulumi, awukhulumi, ulokhu ukhuluma nalo moya ophezu kwalo mlahlankosi, you know, nize niyofika ekhaya. Maniwela imifula uyawutshela ukuthi hey ungasali la, asiwele na umfula, si approach umfula kanjalo nize niyofika ekhaya niubekeke, you know, lo moya la kumele niubeke khona.
Where exactly is the best place of putting that? So is it something the Mlahlankosi do you bury it with him? Do you put it like the flowers outside the ituna, or do you put it somewhere at home, emsam phezulu endlini yotshani?
Bakhona abantu abawubeka emsamo. Mebeqeda ukuyolanda lo moya bahambeke nomphafa lo. Bayofika bayofaka emsamo, meaning ukuthi they are welcoming ledlozi lapho emsamo ukuthi lihlale likhona. Angithi fana nani lento mhlambe mawumisa umsamo ngesinye isikhathi uyabalanda, you know, let's say uthole enye into, uthole indlu somewhere mele uyobika. Abanye abantu bayenza lento ukuthi, you know, baye lapha emathuneni bakhulume nabo, hayi ngicela ningasali ke, ngicela sambeni sonke, you know, ukuze nifike lapha nihlale nizinze la ngiyonishiya khona, ukuze mengifuna ukukhuluma nani kube yindawo la sixhumana khona nale mimoya. So kusemqoka, abanye abantu bayakwenza lo.
Anyone that has a certain question, before I continue with my one, I have many. You may raise your hand and I will not, or you can just unmute. Okay, Simtembile, you are noted, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, sisi, kunjani?
Sipilile unjani ba?
Ngiyaphila. Usemthembile la into abankulu. Mkhulu, nemibuzo lana nginabantu abathathu mina la ekhaya, amakhehla la ekhaya. Ubaba omkhulu ozala ubaba wami washona ngokuthi yena udlisiwe. Eshonela le eNatal. Kwabuya kuvakala ukuthi ke kwabuya umzimba wakhe. Nawo umphefumulo wakhe, but ke manje sengathi waze waphinde wabaleka waphindela eNatal umphefumulo wakhe. Ngengxushungxushu ezazenzeka khona la ekhaya. Kube khona ubaba omncane wami owashona ngokuthi wazixhoma yena khona la kwi-village le yasekhaya. Bese sekuba khona ubrother wami manje yena washona netruck. Manje ke ngoku labantu labo imiphefumulo yabo siyilanda kanjani? Sihlanganisa njani lo msebenzi ukuthi kube umsebenzi owodwa esibalandayo sibalethe la
Oh,
ekhaya?
sorry, Kesha, there's something wrong with the mic.
Ngisazwakala?
Yes, siyakuzwa mkhulu.
Nceda nkosazana.
Okay,
Bengibuzela ukuthi sibahlanganisa njani ke manje ngomsebenzi oyi-one ukuthi bakhona ukubuya la njengoba bashonela ezindaweni ezohlukene ngengozi ezohlukene. Omunye wazixhoma, omunye washona netruck, omunye wadliswa waswelekela eNatal.
Oh, ngicela uphinde nkosazana ungiphindele,
Okay.
yazi angizwanga lutho ukuthi bekethini.
Unama family members. He's got 3 family members.
Neyakho ayizwakali ngapha.
Ayizwakali. Those are very clear.
Very faint.
Is it? Can you increase the volume maybe from your side? Because we can hear you very clear. If may increase the volume from your end. Can you hear me?
No, I see volume from here.
Is it better now? It's not. Can you hear me?
Very faintly.
Very faintly.
Oh, that's better now.
That's better. Okay. All right. No,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
Usembile has got 3 family members that pass on differently. Omunye wadliswa and omunye accident, omunye wathol. And then so now they need to do a certain ritual yokubalanda or umsebenzi othile like ukubalanda ukuhlanganisa. How can they combine i-ritual yabo or fanele benze walo msebenzi bephinde benze the other one, and how can you advise lapho? So you can correct me, Stembile, if I didn't represent you correctly.
No, that's correct. I'm happy.
Oh, yes. Kuyadependa wena Khehla, you know, uyazi lento ifana nani. Mawubika abantwana ngeke ubahlanganise ngembuzi eyodwa. Meaning ukuthi wonke umuntu kumele athole lokho kumele akuthole inqola yakhe. Kuyadependa ukuthi balandwa bayakhushulwa or balandwa nje bazobekwa la ekhaya. You know, if you know intention ilokho nje ukuthi basondele njengoba beyechazile uKhehla umsebenzi onjalo uyazilelwa futhi, meaning ukuthi ifamily as a whole mele izile, you know, lento yezimpi lokuxabana nabantu lelo viko whatever akuxolelwane so that you know yonke into ihambe kahle ngoba I've heard of you know that experience, and I've once experienced it, you know, la kuthiwa idlozi bese lidubile ngoba akuna harmony la ekhaya, you know, uzwe ukuthi hayi umoya uphumile manje, you know, so kusemqoka ngaso sonke isikhathi ukuthi lokho kwenzeke. So yikho ngithi mhlambe uKhehla ngachaza ukuthi ukubalanda nje noma bazoqhubeka kukhona abafuna ukwenza, you know, umsebenzi ritualities, you know, like mawukhuphula umuntu bebabili awukwazi ukubakhuphula ngenkomo nembuzi eyodwa. Wonke umuntu kumele athole imbuzi yakhe athole nenkomo yakhe. Well, it is according to, you know, the way senza ngakhona thina la, you know, emangwaneni. But angikaze ngizwe nje ukuthi njengoba kugeza umuntu ekhushulwa bese ke ukhushulwa nomunye ngaleso silwane esodwa. Wonke umuntu kumele athole imbuzi yakhe athole inkomo yakhe. You know, even the timing yalokho has to be perfect. Kwaziwe ukuthi inyanga ethize, you know, la abantu bakhushulwa khona. So mhlawumbe uKhehla ngachaza kancane.
Mkhulu, hayi okwamanje la ekhaya ukuthi njena kuvela ukuthi kunesikhalazo bayakhalaza manje besifuna ukubasondeza nje kuphela ukuthi babuye babe la ekhaya. Manje sibethakala la ukuthi omunye useThekwini, omunye ungale, ingaba kuzoba namhlanje kube ngomso bengalamini bese soyachayelelwa ekugcineni okanye sizobalanda omunye uzoba nehlahla lakhe.
Yebo. Mele kube njalo angeke bagibele, you know, kumlahla nkosi bobathathu. Cha, mina ngibona ingaba lula mhlambe meningancedana as a family. Abanye baye eThekwini, abanye baye lapha, abanye baya lapha, kuhlanganwe, you know, ekhaya wonke sebebili seniyabamukela ngosiko lwenu ukuthi, you know, imimoya niyamukela kanjani ngoba inkulumo kumele niyenze, you know, ukuthi naba labantu senikhona sicela ningene la ekhaya. So kudependa ukuthi inkulumo nina niyenza, you know, ngaluphi usiko.
In what my brother Stembile has raised, Mkhulu, there is incidents here. Omunye udlisiwe truck accident and uqholiwe. There's a truck accident based on the question that I asked earlier. Umuntu ongafanele angeniswe ekhaya. And then so what happens in that instance? So they go nehlahla bayomlanda, and that person ungeniswe ekhaya, or there is a ritual that's supposed to be done before angeniswe ekhaya. Is it different or the same as for all of them? So the way abangeniswa ngakhona.
Akangeni ekhaya. Umuntu nje olimane ngengozi ngaphandle akangeni ekhaya to prevent ukuthi lento iqhubeke yenzakale kuwo wonke umuntu or abantu nje bathola amachaphazela leyo nto la ekhaya. Yingakho uyadluliswa mhlawumbe uba lapha egeyidini before ayobekwa from emoshwari udluliswe egeyidini bese ke kuyahanjwa kuyachazelwa ukuthi cha naliki ikhaya siyadlula ke manje, you know, sesiyokubeka endaweni yakho yokugcina. Kepha bangeni because of leyo nkolelo ukuthi kungenzeka le ngozi iqhubeke ekhaya.
Okay ke mkhulu, i-suicide yona ifola which one, kwi-accident okanye?
Cha, i-suicide wena Kehle, it's a very, very, very difficult one because uyabona leyo, I would say ukuthi futhi inecala ngoba uyoyithola unecala noma sowufika ngale ukuthi wena usuyinqumele ukuthi umsebenzi wakho sowuphelile la emhlabeni ngoba uze la ufumbathe something and mele leyo nto leyo yenzakale. So wena icala nje ukuthi bese ke uyayiqeda nje life yakho. This is how I look at it. I-suicide ayifuneki at all. It doesn't matter how difficult things are. Awukwazi wena ukuthi uphangisele ukuthi uhambe ngoba uze la for a certain reason. Okhokho bakho bakulethe la ukuthi uzolungisa okuthize. Mele ukuthole lokho ukulungise then songakhululeka. Kepha wena ke ufrustrate into zomhlaba bese ke ugcina sowuthatha life yakho. I think lokho kulicala emadlozini leyo nto leyo nasemathongeni.
Kunomthwalo omkhulu, so because there are a couple of people that you consult and you find that they are in that situation and that spirit now it comes back and haunt them, and how do they cleanse such a spirit? How do they deal with such a spirit?
Lo muntu lo mele akwenziwe umkhosi okumshwelezela. Mele thina sele ngapha simshwelezela. Then mekufika isikhathi ke bese ke siyamkhuphula. Meaning ukuthi mele agezwe. Kugezwa lo moya. Remember the reason why umuntu agezwe is because uzalwe la umoya wakho upure. But because of his socialization ne-experience yakho emhlabeni ugcina sowungcolisa lo moya ozalwe upure. So manje mawufika isikhathi esithize after ushonile siyasazi ukuthi umuntu uyakhushulwa. Ukukhushulwa yini? Usuke kugezwa. Sonke isono salo muntu simcelela lolo xolo emadlozini ukuthi konke okuba akwenzile ngale mbuzi or ngale silwane sicela agezeke so that akhone ukubuyela la asuka khona before azalwa la emhlabeni.
Thokoza mkhulu. Are you satisfied, Stembile?
Hayi gogo ngeke ngibe satisfied but ke masinika abanye i-chance.
Okay. I will share my contact numbers in the chat group, and then so we can take it off here.
All right,
see how we can assist so that you don't leave this platform and you still, your spirit is still not or still unsettled. And then so I'll share my contact details. Gugu, you may speak.
Thank you, Sis Noma. Mas ngicela nje ukubuza into okuqala kula statement enziwe ubaba la ukuthi are you saying ukuthi umntwana ubuya emadlozini? One, and two, into engifuna ukubuza mina personally ukuthi mabethi ekhaya umuzi idlozi bathi idlozi likhishwe and then in that family suddenly ba experience a spirit of death and kuthiwe idlozi ayenziwa akhishiwe is it possible none? One, and if possible kwenziwa kanjani? Is it possible nokuthi umuntu wasemhlabeni abe namandla? That theory nje idlozi likhishiwe njengoba sithi believe edlozini la kuvikela what but manje umuntu wasemhlabeni ukhiphile idlozi so like as a family niyekelelwe akusekho siviko, something like that. Bese enye number 3 engifuna ukuyibuza ukuthi Unfortunately, we missed out a lot because we're so close to network. We are sitting here with silalele, but angazi chazwa, but nje sicela nje is of interest the part ukuthi amathuna, can things be deprived kuwe mawuthi awubelieve emadlozini awuye emathuniyeni? Kuyenzakala na ukuthi izinto like kube ne-blockage nje elifini yakho because awusayi emathuneni and izinto ezifana nalezo? And is it possible also ukuthi decide ukuthi hayi ithinge emathuneni and things begin to ukuthi zenzakale nje ngokufika emathuneni na, something like that? With this one mina ngizoba specific and very honest, ne? I personally, my father passed away, I think over 20 years now, washona. And mina ekhaya angazi ngiye okay ama-fights ama-families ngikhulele kakhulu ngapha kubomamami, and then kayende ngiyazi ukuthi ngakhona, and futhi they culturally bayenza yonke into. My mother I'm not even supposed to ukuthi ngibizomanana. I was never a manana ngikhula ngibomanana esithubeni nje ngokuthi abantu abadala bayalwa, ababafuni kabo babami into ezifana nalezo. Ngazithola manje uthatha ipasi mina 18, mangithatha ipasi bavele nje bangibiza umanana, ngayeka ukuba uyende. So khuleni all of a suddenly ngoba ngi-influence ingapha kakhulu kubomamami, then azange ngisaya kabo babami. I've never visited igrave kababami for over I don't know how many years. So is it possible na ukuthi izinto zingavaleka because of that part and uye kwenzakala umehluko? I know ukuthi well maybe that part ukuthi uye kwenzakala umehluko you might not answer, it depends, but I'm just nje a light nje. Thanks.
Ithi ngiqale ngalokho kokugcina, leminye imibuzo ke uzongincedisa Nkosazana. Indaba yamathuna ifana nani lento, I think ugogo umentionile ukuthi idlozi liyaphuma. Uma ungasakhoni wena ukuxhumana nale mimoya, it means on la ekhaya anisayenzi mhlambe amasiko bewenziwa before. It means ukuthi vele labo bantu senibabulele, you've actually killed them, because the only way esiphilisa idlozi ngakhona, you know, is by calling their name all the time. Mawenza njalo uyabaphilisa, kanti mawubakhohlwa it means uyababulala. You know, you are actually finishing them, you know, for the second time, you know, because you know, lama vibrations amagama abo abasawezwa. Remember ukuthi imimoya i-communicator ngani ngemizwa, our emotions, you know. So manje mawuloko u-communicator nabo, you are creating, you know, that relationship, you know, nabo. And uyazi enye into, you know, kunalento ukuthi abantu they judge everything empilweni based on material, you know, possessions. You know, if ngahlala for 2 years ngasebenzi, it means ukuthi alikho idlozi, you know, awukho lo moya lo, you know. Kanti isibusiso sakho might not come in a form of you know, material things. Isibusiso sakho is just that abantu we are pointed in one direction in terms of looking for blessings. Blessings don't always come with material things. ukuthi uthola umsebenzi wenza lokhu. You must always be on the lookout for ama blessings, because sometimes uzowadlula, because wena ngithi ulindele imali. The only way la idlozi liphila khona kuwe is by ukuthi ulokhu uthola imali. Kanti sometimes, you know, uyakhula spiritually, mele wenze lokhu, uma ubamba lokhu kuyalunga, uma ubamba lokhu, you know, yonke into ihamba kahle. So lokho kusemqoka ukuthi siku-understand singabantu. But one thing I know, ukuthi the only way ukuthi ubalekelwe idlozi, the only way ukuthi ubulale idlozi lakho, ukungali mention, you don't call their name. You know, we are bringing the second death, you know, to them, because ukuze nabo bajabule baphile la bekhona, ukuthi nathi silokho sibabiza all the time. In that way, you are forming a relationship, you know, nalo, because remember ukuthi thina siumoya siyona inyama, you know, so it's very important ukuthi ngaso sonke isikhathi, you know, silokho si-communicate nale moya as if iyaphila. Ukhokho wakho ukhulume naye as if iyaphila, because uyaphila ngempela. Remember ukuthi i-energy never dies. So, you know, okhokho bethu knew this science. It's just that, you know, okwamanje, we are so angazi. There's something, you know, chilly say in our eyes. Asaboni, asenalo isolomoya, ukufunda izinto ngokamoya. So, you know, we've been conditioned nje ukuthi everything, i-dipstick, by mele kube izinto zenyama, kanti cha, ibusiso ziza ngezindlela ezi-different.
Yes, Google assist us in the end if we didn't cover all the questions. The other one, she's asking that there would be this the saying that idlozi likhishiwe. For example, likhishiwe ekhaya, kunadlozi la ekhaya. And then so is there anything like that? And if I may add, this thing of ukungeniswa kwedlozi as well, if you can maybe just combine those two questions.
Ukhishwa kwedlozi wena gogo, you know, mina lokho angikaze ngake experience. Into engiyaziyo ukuthi idlozi nina la ekhaya niyakhona niyaliflathela ngokuthi you no longer doing izinto kumele ngabe niyazenza ezinixhumanisa, like ekhaya, you know, thola ukuthi every year kuyahlatshwa, you know, kubongwe impilo, kubongwe nje ukuthi, you know, unyaka sesifike kulesikhathi, you know, singazange sivelelwe izinto ezimbi and nempilo iba ngcono. Iyabongwa yonke into manje. Once sesikulahlile konke lokho nakhehla, you would say ukuthi, you know, vele liflathele idlozi alisekho lapha ngoba thina abantu benyama basele ngapha simflathele lo muntu.
If I may add that, Mkhulu, when I was still practicing more, there is a family that one predicted or seen what was happening in the family. So then they're experiencing death after death, and then so until I came across a family member, and I had a vision what is happening in their family, and the solution that became what became a solution for them at that time. It was like apparently kufike inyanga and yakhipha idlozi ekhaya, and in that process yasithumela ithwasa that is not trained ukubuyisa idlozi. Mayibuyisa idlozi wafaka other spirits that were not the spirit of that family. So now that family, that spirit was the one that was dealing with the rest of the family members. So what became the solution is to ukhipha lelo dlozi, and then so, and we had certain, I was taught certain herbs to process that. So keep it idlozi, cleanse the family, and then at a certain time we waited a bit for the family or for the the spirit of their loved ones to communicate with any other family member, and then so to say they are ready to get in, and of which it happened. And then so when that process happened, and then so we now did a certain ritual of ubuyisela idlozi ekhaya when it has been cleansed, and that stopped. And it's something that I personally did, and I was part of it, and I was involved in it, and the family experienced such a difference after that. And then so how can you explain the science around that? And then so that one, it became not my belief, but the practical experience, not one family when I was still practicing, and then a couple of families that happened. You cleanse the home, keep it loosey, and then so there's a certain way that I'm taught, or I was taught how to do that. You keep it loosey with that certain way, and then so, but it's not one size fit all. So it comes to my spirit that, okay, this family must do it this way. And then so we'll keep it loose, we say, and all goes well within the family. Is it their belief, or it's what one did for them?
No, Mina, I would say when I go, it also borders on the belief, system as well. I'll make an example. When it comes to imisebenzi enjengaleyo yamadlozi, most of the time, abantu barelaya einyangeni or abaprofeti ukuthi babenzele leyo nto. Remember ukuthi akekho umuntu onemvume ukukhuluma idlozi. As an example, nguhlongwane angikwazi ukuyokhuluma idlozi lakwaMtsamana. I have no right there, to do that. Meaning ukuthi inyanga or umprofeti or whoever can be there to guide the process. But inkulumo mele yenzwe, abantu bala ekhaya. Ifana lento le, ifana nalento ukuthi abantu most of the time, especially abantu abadala, bagcwala emasontweni. Why? Because bafuna ukungcwatshwa abafundisi. Ngokwesintu awukwazi ukungcwatshwa umuntu ongazalana naye. A family that handles that, a family emkhaphayo, a family, ekhuluma namadlozi asengale ukuthi mamukeleni nangu seyeza. Manje, siba kunaleyo wena confusion wena gogo. Sometimes abanye abantu, basuke babheka imali bafuna ukwenza lokho kanti, mele siyibheke lezo zinto lezo ngoba sometimes yizo izinto ezenza ukuthi, izinto zichayisana. Njengenyanga nje mhlambe egreen. Kube yiyo manje seyikhuluma idlozi lakho and umthembu wena, ulapha kwalentuza kwaShabalala. So umthembu akana right ukukhuluma idlozi lakwaShabalala. Mele kube abantu bakaShabalala abakhuluma idlozi lakwaShabalala. So manje once kwatholakala ibalance kulezo zinto abantu ba-understand, because once you giving over ipower yakho, then a lot of people will take advantage of you. So I would really, and enye into ifana nani lento wena gogo egcwele kuthiwe ugobela uthwebula idlozi lakho or ufuna ukutshontsha idlozi lakho because wena unama powers adlula ugobela. Uyabona leyo nkulumo igcwele, leyo nkulumo leyo ayina bufakazi, as far as I'm concerned. Yingakho ngithi abantu esikhathini esiningi bayayiloya bona self. If you believe ukuthi it doesn't matter ukuthi ugobelo njani, angeke akana right ukuthi athwebula italent lakho, athwebula idlozi lakho. Amadlozi akho angithi akhona yiwo la kumukisela. Amadlozi akho are supposed to protect you. So now stop feeding your mind. Umuntu umbone ukuthi nempilo yakho ayisekho right because you believe ukuthi no, uGobela wangenza lokhu nalokhu nalokhu nalokhu. Do you understand? We are giving uGobela too much power angayideserve. It means ukuthi seke kuloyo umqondo for you to be messed up to a point ukuthi so believe nje yonke into embi eyenzakala is because of lo Gobela. We are giving uGobela or whoever, you know, prophet too much power over umoya ney'dalwa zakini.
Thokoza Gugu, I lost the first question that you asked about. I'm not sure whether umntwana, if maybe you can write your question again. Yes, yes.
No, ugogo ubebuza ukuthi umntwana uvele emadlozini na. Hayi thina sikholelwa kanjalo. Umntwana isipho from emadlozini, ingakho uzothola ukuthi mhlambe, you know, umakoti ungenile la ekhaya or kunento nje ekhona between umama nobaba, ingane ayitholakali. Kuyenziwa usiko lokuthi, you know, kuyobuzwa kahle ukuthi konakale kuphi, makutholakale lento eyonakele bese kuyalungiswa ngosiko lakhona. Kuthi maqeda ukwenziwa lo msebenzi, you know, bese kuyathola ukuthi hayi omunye alentuze avuke nombono. Hey, ngibona ugogo usibanibani enginikeza ingane. How in 2-3 months time lo muntu pregnant? So ziyenzakala lezo zinto, you know. Ingane vele iphume emadlozini ngoba remember ukuthi isigungu samadlozi akini, it's there all the time. Yibo laba you know, they welcome you after you have departed from earth, and yibo futhi who make a decision ukuthi cha sidinga umuntu ozenza nalokhu nalokhu, sifuna wena lo moya uthize, hamba ke, you know, uyozalwa kabusha enyameni.
Thokoza mkhulu. Thabo, you may speak.
Thank you. Mkhulu, it's good to hear from you and see you again. My question is a very short one. What is our view and our belief insofar as cremation is concerned?
Well, Kesha, cremation, remember ukuthi okhokho bethu, you know, Bob Credo would even you know, talk about this. Ukuthi sometimes masim create, you know, sometimes abanye abantu babhala amawili. This is my wish ukuthi mengingcwatshwa bese ngiyashiswa ke mina. Kanti thina ngokonkololo yethu ingakho we ended up, you know, mummifying idumbu, so that you know lesidumbu sakho sisanalo konke lokhu, you know, that gives that ability ukuthi i-communication facilitated. So manje mawushisa ucrematwa, it's like you are ending everything. Meaning ukuthi i-communication, you know, izoba khona kepha ngeke isaba khona kalula. That is the belief, you know, okhokho bethu had ukuthi ingakho, you know, bengagcwalanga lento, you know, ukuthi umuntu uyashiya. Umuntu akashiswa ngokwesintu, you know, angaze ngizwe into nje, you know, ejwayelekile seyikhona after influence yezinye izizwe. Kepha la eAfrika umuntu bengashiswa bekengcwatshwa, you know, ngokosiko lakhona lwabantu, so that, you know, sikhona ukuthi siloko sikhuluma nabo basizwe nathi sibezwe, you know. So inkolelo yethu mina, as far as I've researched, bengenziwa lento noma beyenziwa, but beyenziwa mhlambe, you know, angazi kuphi, but you know, in the main I don't think Africans believe, they wouldn't go to a point of mummifying to preserve, the chemicals that are there that are facilitating communication between the dead and the living.
On that question, sorry, Thabo, on that question, Mkhulu, just to add, if it happens that a person has been incriminated, and then so the process of ukulandwa ngehlahla and all that, because the incrimination will happen at a certain place, what will be the process, if there is any?
Well, I wouldn't know when I go, because I don't believe in that. I see people bayakwenza, especially these days. So bakhala ngokuthi amathuna ayashoda yonke lento, so the whole abanye abantu nje bafuna nje ukuphela angabi sakhona, because mhlambe uzothola ukuthi life yakhe beyingayikho ngale ndlela le, so let me just end everything noma ngishona ngicela ningishise. We are ending completely. So I personally don't believe in ending a person's life like that.
You may continue, Thabo.
Okay. Yeah, no, because some of the reasons that I've heard, it goes like a person wants to make sure that they are dead. They don't want a situation where they gain consciousness in the tomb after they've been buried. So yeah, I mean, there've been cases of people who would wake up, sebenqatshiwe and the like. But my follow-up question then would be, in terms of organ donations, once you're dead, so does that also rule that out, to say it's not advisable?
No, it does, when it does. I mean, umzimba, ngokwesiko yikho ngithi konke lokho, it's an adopted culture. Thina siyazi leyo nto le, ukuthi umuntu uyakhishwa ama-organs akhe adonate ngawo. Asikwazi lokho. It can be a good thing, ukuthi le nto yenzakale, but bengajwayelekanga le nto ukuthi umuntu uyongcwatshwa nje akasenanhliziyo, akasenalokhu, akasenalokhu, konke kusale emuva. Remember ukuthi okhokho bethu lama lentuza, all these organs, like in Kemet, there will be jars that are actually buried with you, meaning ukuthi ziyakhishwa. Zikhishwelani, mhlambe ukuthi umzimba, njengoba they are mummify, kuna certain process ezenza ukuthi kukhishwe-ke lama organs, njengenhliziyo, amathumbu, bokuba namajazi. There are about 4, which represents certain principles ezenza ukuthi siphile la. Actually, the 4 corners, imimo, the guardian of the 4 corners of the world, yizo that control some of the organs, la ngaphakathi kithina. So okhokho bethu bebeyizikhipha lawo ma-organs, bawafake kumajazi that represent those 4 corner spirits that are the guardians of the world. So lento yokudonate wena Khehla, it can be angazi, like some of these things are not written in stone. If kusibona ukuthi into ethize iyanceda, abanye abantu, I don't think it would be a bad thing ukuthi okwamanje senze that adjustment. I mean, just to say, but ngokwesiko thina siyazi.
Would it be okay? Will it be maybe correct spiritually if, when I'm still alive, even when I write in my will that if my certain organs are useful to somebody, so then I'm willing to donate with them. And then so then that means that my spirit agreed to that. Will it affect it when I cross over? Will it be a challenge for me to cross over if I leave such messages behind?
Buka, uyabona into eyenza lento ibe difficult ukuthi remember ukuthi njengoba siphila the whole body yethu there is an etheric body, isithunzi sakho, you know, that you know, mimics the whole physicality yakho, meaning ukuthi even inhliziyo yakho there is a spiritual heart, you know, in that etheric body. So manje, when you do that transfer, to me isuke ingabi clear because kwayena lo muntu lo, you know, o affectekile inhliziyo the organ ayisasebenzi, there is a spiritual organ somewhere, you know, in the etheric, you know, body. So leyo nto leyo ilethi confusion, meaning ukuthi inhliziyo yami kunenhliziyo, ingakho okhokho bathi your heart will be weighed against the feather. Akukhulunywa about the physical, you know, heart. Kukhulunywa about the spiritual heart that records everything oyenzile la emhlabeni. So kuba nalobo bunzima ke ukuthi, you know, uma kufika leso situation, how does it affect the whole, you know, etheric, you know, system, you know, because really, iphinda lethu lomoya, it's in the etheric, you know, field. Njengoba thina siphila la in the physical field, kunephinda lethu in the etheric field.
Fortune, you may speak.
What's up, Mkhulu?
What's
So,
up,
my question, I actually have two. So the one is about ukuthathwa kwamagama wabantu abangasekho. Are there any rituals associated with that process? Like if uzothatha igama logogo or malume or someone in the family who passed on, uninikeza umntwana ovelayo. And then my second question is there a difference between, like after sectionilo, is there a difference between ukugeza nokukhushulwa? And if there is, can you just explain the difference?
Okay. Asiqale ngale leyo qala konje beyithini.
Amagama
Khehla kuyaziwa vele ukuthi kumele lithengwe, you know, kunendlela ke uyahluka ukuthi le, you know, elisuthu benza kanje, eNatal benza kanje, eXhoseni benza kanje. Kepha leyo nto is very important ukuthi uthenge igama. Uma wetha ingane ngomuntu ongasekho kumele uthenge lelo gama ngoba kuthiwa if ungalenzanga leyo ngane, you know, izoba nenkinga eyithize, you know, emhlabeni. Then the second one, team gone.
The difference yokukhushulwa and neyokugeza.
Ukugeza. Remember ukuthi ifamily after umuntu eshonile esiyageza ngindla ekhaya ngembuzi. Sesi angithi umuntu mekeshona sikholela ukuthi kuba nefu elimboze ikhaya. Then after lawo malanga lawo that are determined by, you know, different cultures, abanye after 10 days, abanye after a month or whatever, kuhlatshwa imbuzi ke manje sokugezwa ini umuzi. Lokho kuhlukile nokukhuphula umuntu. Ukukhuphula umuntu is very specific. Ukuthi sigeza umoya wakhe lo owazalwa umsulwa pure, kepha ngenxa nje yokubuka ukukhuluma nokwenza you know, siyona ngaleyo ndlela. So akekho umuntu who is protected, you know, as long as uphila emhlabeni, you know, isono siyona ngaso sonke isikhathi. So manje ke okhokho understood that. That is why bebeka iperiod ukuthi mhlambe as an example after a year umuntu kumele akhushulwe ukuze azoba yidlozi elihle esikwazi ukuliphahla libuye ke lizosiprotecta lizosikhanyisela. Kanti idlozi elingagezwanga lisasejele, you know, as well, because you can't ask anything. Ngoba lo muntu akakhululekanga, usaboshwe izenzo zakhe bekezenza la emhlabeni, kuthiwa mele account manje yingakho bese ke uyavela ke evela ngamaphupho. Ngaba umfundisi futhi esikhathini esiningi umuntu uhambe la umfundisi avela seke vele ebantwaneni ngicela inkomo, ngiyasha la ngikhona, ngicela ningigeze. Iyenzeka leyo nto leyo.
So just for clarity, in terms of ukuthenga igama, do you have to go to ethuneni naloyo muntu or mhlambe isebenza kanjani in that process?
No, kudependa ukuthi, you know, uthenga kanjani wekhathi. Ukuyombika, uyabona ukuya emathuneni ukuyombikela. That is very important before, you know, let's say la ekhaya ke mhlambe nihlabe lezo inkukhu. It's very important ukuthi niye kuyo umnikazi. Nimbikele ukuthi cha namhlanje sizolungisa indaba yegama. Le gama lakho lisinikeze usibanibani. So into vele that I would truly encourage ukuthi nenze xa.
On that, so then now, where do you do that? Do you go to the graves, to the grave and then talk to that particular person, or we are emsam and talk to that person, or we are esgangeni and talk to the person?
Kuyadependa, you know, ukuthi ama circumstances anjani, you know, ekhaya. Inkulumo emathuneni yiyo leyo kumele fana noma sizohlaba isilwane la ekhaya khona inkulumo esiyenzayo. Siqala kuphi ekseni emathuneni before sizohlaba leso silwane. Siyababikela kuqala ukuthi nakho siyokwenza, you know, sicela ukuthi nikwazi siyokwenza lokhu mesifike ekhaya ngoba senze inkulumo efana nale nale. So ukuya emathuneni nje ukuyobabikela, you know, physically, but yonke into iphelele ekhaya.
But now on that, how do you know ukuthi this person is actually at the grave? So if, let's say, awumlandanga esibhedlela wherever umphefumulo wakhe uphumule khona. So how do you know then now, how do you go to the grave and talk to the person at the graveyard? And then so when you know, when that person engakazalandwe anyway, where his soul or his last breath was released?
No, injalo wena gogo, if umuntu, you know, umoya womuntu usandinda la awukalenduza awukalandwa lenduza, then you know there's no point ukuthi lapha emathuneni ngoba uyokhuluma nani. Yingakho specify ukuthi kusemqoka umuntu meke hambele esibhedlela, meke hambe ngengozi yemoto or somewhere, kusemqoka ukuthi labo bantu balandwe. Yazi ifana nani le, banengi kabi abantu, you know, bebelwela inkululeko. Abantu imimoya yabo isandindana namhlanje abakalandwa. You understand? So lolu siko lokulanda imimoya abantu, yazi even ne physicality yamathambo, yes ingalandela, but into esemqoka ukuthi lo muntu abe ne peace naye, you know, ukuthi no naba bakithi na umndeni wami uzongilanda la, you know, kwenzeka ingozi khona. Leyo nto leyo is very, very important. It will be very illogical ukuthi naku niyazi vele umuntu namshiya lestradeni la ahambela khona bese ke, you know, nihamba niyokhuluma naye emathuneni. It wouldn't make sense, Gogo.
Thokoza. Sarah, you may speak.
Ngiyabonga mphathi ihlelo, ngiphakamisa nje ukubonga imfundiso esiyitholayo, okungukuthi le mfundiso uma siyidinga esikhathini esiningi imfundiso engabe siyikhokhela imali eziningi, kodwa ngaphandle nje kwedatha le mfundiso siyithola mahala. Ngiphinde ngibonge ukuthi namhlanje imfundiso ikhuluma ngendaba yamathuna, ukusho ukuthi ngobufakazi enginabo mina nganginenkinga bantwana bendlozi yokuthi ubhuti wami washona ku-accident washiya umntwana ona 2 years. Yes, samlanda umntwana. Emva kwalokho kwase kuba nenxushunxushu phakathi kwethu singumndeni nomamakhe umntwana. Indaba sayizama ngendaba yomthetho lo okhona lo ukuthi sihamba singenise emaloyeni, sisebenzisa nama-social worker. Sinawo umculo okhombisa ukuthi vele ingane kumele ukuthi ingahlala ngapha kithi ekhaya kibo kubo anti wayo ngoba mama yakekho uhlala angekho ayishiye iyodwa le labahlala khona. Kodwa kwahlulekeka lokho makhehla mama mase siyithatha ingane sithi sibeletha kubo noma sesinamaphepha abomthetho saboshwa makhehla kwathiwa thina yithi esi-abducte umntwana sibuza ukuthi singam-abducta kanjani umntwana ngoba nabo ubufakazi buyasho ukuthi ingane siyithola ihlala yodwa mama uyishiyile nase-police station lapha before siyithatha saripota ukuthi ingane ila sinama-affidavit siphethe imiculo yamaphepha ebuya kuma-social. Kodwa-ke kwase kufika lona lephupho makhehla ukuthi no akusetshenzwe ngesintu kukhulunywe nabaphasi kukhulunywe naye ubabakhe kukhulunywe naye umkhulu ngoba wabese soyashona ubabethu ozala yena lo mfana. Makhehla nginitshela ukuthi umama lengane wayiletha sihlala nayo manje njengoba ngikhuluma ngaphandle komthetho umthetho sasinawo ufakazi ukuthi ingane siyithola iyodwa umculo ungakwazi kodwa asisebenze nalaba abazala lengane siye emathuneni social letter bomakhosi sicele lengane. Ngikhuluma makhehla ingane ihlala nathi as I speak now. Amaphoyisa eza before ayasilanda kumakhehla nemihweqelele yezibhamu athi si-abducte ingane of which sinama-affidavit siripotile ukuthi ingane siyayithatha. Kwahlulekeka ngaleyo ndlela leyo kwagcina kuboshwe thina ngokusebenza nabo abasishile abalele baphinde basikhombise emaphuphusheni ukuthi ingane sizoyithola kanjani. Mabathi sibhuqa umqombothi bogogo siyochitha khona le emalibeni emathuneni sihambe makhehla siwubhuqa bo-20 liters siyothela. Mabathi senze lokhu sibabona emaphusheni khuluma yena umkhulu babale lo mfana lo washona naye. Senza kanjalo makhehla ngichaza ukuthi mina le mfundiso le esiyitholayo just to share one experience. Imfundiso le esiyikhiphela imali ezinkulu nangabe ike ibe khona angikaze ke mina ngahlangana nemfundiso eso ukuthi uzoyithola mahala nedi uspend isikhathi sakho. So ngichuba ukuthi ibongela bogogo ngicubeka ukuthi ibongela bomkhulu ukuthi njengoba lelwazi silithola asilimunye silisebenzise yilo ulwazi oluza wakhe isizwe. Bengikhuluma nje ngobufakazi enginabo nokusebenza ngabo laba abasishile. Makhosi kaMagwini bogogo.
Thokoza.
Siyathokoza gogo. So this platform is exactly about that, about different cultures, experiences we're sharing, and different religions. And no one takes offense if you don't believe in something. You get clarity, but your spirit, after you've received certain wisdom, it talks to you. So this is a platform of where we all share our experiences. If something works for you or your spirit talks to you based on what you've received today, and then so we leave that to your spirit, because at times you will believe into Christianity and then so saying you don't believe in Madlozin and all that, and then only to find your spirit directed you to come to this platform so that you start questioning certain things and it starts to be able to communicate with you. And then so as the topic of today is saying, visiting the graveyards and stuff, because at times you don't even know, you wish to talk to your spirit, you don't even know how to talk to your spirit. And if your beliefs are going to the graveyard, only to find that you don't even know whether this person walandwa kahle emathuneni. And then so that it becomes a danger for me to actually direct a person to go to Amatuna when you haven't really gone to a person that can see, or you don't even know whether this person was actually brought in this grave, and then or it's just maybe the physical being that is there, and then so the person's bones that is there, but spiritually that person is not there. And then so that's the part that I was asking Gumkulu to clarify for all of us. And then so in that instance, what happens? So then that means you can only visit the grave when you're certain that that person, your loved one, is actually in that grave. Will that can you confirm that, Mkulu Guti? Am I correct in saying that?
No, certainly, Coco. I mean, umuntu namshiya esibhedlela lapha namflathela then niyabuya emathuneni, you know, doesn't make sense, because kumele niqale ngakho lokho ukuthi nimlande lo muntu nimhlanganise nomoya wakhe, so nomzimba wakhe uzothola ukuthi umoya undizela wodwa le umzimba ule, yingakho umuntu uyahlanganisa inyama nomoya then iphelele menja.
On that, kunobhuti wami ubuze about the cleansing, the kushulo. What is unveiling?
Unveiling into esilungu. Into esilungu i-unveiling usuke uthenge i-tombstone yonke lento le. Bakhona ke abantu abayixubayo ukuthi umuntu mesimenzele ilitshe the very same weekend siyamkhuphula. Yenzeka lento kufunite you have experienced it. Ukhuphula umuntu njengoba ngilongichaza ukugeza umoya wakhe. Remember ukuthi, you know, ngichazile futhi ukuthi uzalwa la umsulwa, umoya wakho pure, ungcoliswa impilo yakho nje la emhlabeni. So ukuze lo moya ubuyele la uvela khona, kumele thina esingapha esasele sikwenzele lo siko ukuthi siyakhuphula manje, sesiyageza ukuthi manje ubuyele lapha kumvele incane nomkhulwana owavela khona owasuka khona, so that mesikuphahla ube idlozi elihle elilethe inhlanhla neprotection la ekhaya, ungeze nje uzosixabanisa ngoba kwawena nje awugezwanga usenkingeni self.
Thokoza mkhulu. Tunzi, I noted your hand, you may speak.
Angithi sanibona mkhulu bogogo nendlu yonke.
Thokoza.
Ngicela ukubuza lana kwenziwa yini ukuthi umuntu simlandile emathuneni or noma wafika wakugeza wakhushulwa wafakwa ekhaya sithi mfake emzini wakhe, bese makumele senze umsebenzi othize siphinde sibuyele emathuneni futhi kanti lo muntu simlandile sambuyisa ekhaya. Umbuzo number 1 lo. Umbuzo number 2, umuntu ageziwe wakhushulwa wafakwa ekhaya bese kuyaphinda futhi kuthiwa unedlozi elibi, ngabe lokho kusuke kwenziwa yini? Ngizocela nje ukuma khona la.
Ukuthi umuntu egeziwe wakhushulwa then kuthiwa uyilidlozi elibi.
So usegeziwe and then so but kuthiwa useyidlozi elibi still.
Kuyadependa wena Gogo ukuthi ubani okushoyo lokho. What's the motivation behind lokho? Because mina okokuqala engikwaziyo ukuthi uma wenza umsebenzi onjengani lelo dlozi eligezwayo lo moya ogezwayo kumele ufike to one of the members la ekhaya makuhambe wrong uzosho. Ukhona uzovuka nombono ukuthi hayi lento ayilunganga because of this and this and that and that. You know, meaning ukuthi abomndeni kumele kube yibo abayiphuphela lezo indaba ngoba angithi nenze umsebenzi wasekhaya. Manje ke, you know, umoya mele uconfirme ke, you know, kini ifana nani lento ukuthi kumele udepende emntwini akutshele ukuthi umele uyothwasa. Ayisebenzi kanjalo. Idlozi lakho kumele ufuna ukuyothwasa ukuthi wena uyothwasa kumele livele la kuwe, ungaziwa abanye abantu ukuthi wena kumele uyothwasa. So into enjalo le wena kehla umoya wala ekhaya kumele ufike, you know, one of the members of the family ukuthi hey naku so lo muntu azange ilunge. So mangekho njalo then kuze nje umuntu, you never know ukuthi what's the motivation behind that.
So the other question is that
omunye umbuzo uthini?
oh
Kathesi?
the person, there was a ritual yokumlanda from emathuneni and all that to ungenisiwe ekhaya, but then when there's a certain do umsebenzi, and then so then the next thing they go back to emathuneni again. So I can ask maybe, yeah.
Okay, no, ile bengichaza ukuthi buka sinemisamo la emakhaya. And mawakha phela umsamo usuke ufaka la umadlozi akubomama nakubobaba, but it doesn't stop us ukuthi siyobavakashela once in a while labalele khona. That is very special to them. It might seem insignificant to you, but to them is very special ukuthi hey nazi ingane zami abazukulu bami bangivakashele namhlanje bangilethela umqombothi nasi nesnefu la ngiyabhema bashisa impepho. Uyayibona leyo nto leyo, you making it special for them. Akusho ukuthi mawuphahla la ekhaya idlozi likho likhona vele, kepha that makes it just extra special.
There's a question on the chat from Fortune. What happens when you phahla to somebody ongakaze akhushulwe?
Lo muntu usejele lo muntu lo ucela kanjani emntwini osejele? Akwazi ucela umuntu osejele ngithi. Hey.
So what do you do? Because the challenge, Mkhulu, we might be talking to a person that is aware of our cultures or the culture, family practices and cultures. But what happens to a person that doesn't know anything? So that doesn't have parents and was born a Christian, and where does that person, where do I start to actually
You must be the knowledge seeker. You must seek knowledge. All knowledge is everywhere. Akusho ukuthi manje masosele wedwa and you are a Christian, you cannot consult abantu who are still rooted in this thing. Everybody, the wisest thing is to do that. If ubona ukuthi uxakekile, then ufuna abantu who are still rooted in whatever that you are trying to achieve. But ukuthi uhlale nje just make an excuse ukuthi no, mina ngisenabazali and the next thing futhi ngikhuliswe as a Christian, that's no excuse. Buka ke lento ukuthi idlozi oshe elisasejele asikwazi ifana nani lento. You can't give love when you don't have self-love yourself. You need to give what you have. So manje idlozi liboshiwe na lidinga nina ukuthi nilikhulule. So the logical thing ukuthi asikhululeni umkhulu ukuze noma sicela kuye sibone ukuthi uzwile uyezwa, ngoba really umphahlo is very powerful. It might look so insignificant. Mawuloku uphahla consistently udeposita ungayenzi lento mawuxakekile kuphela, because abantu banjalo. The minute angena nje enkingeni uza sekezophahla wenza zonke lezi, then bese ke u-expecta izinto ukuthi zenzakale ngesikhathi sakhe, kanti umoya operates in a completely different way.
As the last person, because we've run out of time,
Sure.
Fortune, you may speak. I noted your hand.
Okay, so Mkhulu, maybe you've answered this. I just wanted to say there's this thing about there's a difference between the tongue and the. So when we speak to the people emathuneni, suka sikhuluma namadlozi or namathongo, can you just explain that?
Amathongo sesijwayele ukuwabiza amadlozi. Amathongo. Idlozi is eternal. Those are the principles that are responsible for impilo, anything ephilayo emhlabeni idalwe ilamadlozi ayi-9, according to imfundiso yokhokho baseKenya. but ichongo umuntu oke waphila and experience the earthly existence wasedlula sithi lo muntu usemachongweni ngoba mesimphahla uyavuka amamela kithi. So manje umehluko lapha ukuthi lokhu esikubizwa idlozi zithenala yindawo is forever there and is forever creating all the time, meaning ukuthi yonke into ilwane imvelo nje general iconstitute yizo zonke lezi zinto ziyi-9. Yingakho nawe umama carries you for 9 months, so that all these 9 principles are fully manifested within i-gestation period kamama. So ithongo-ke yilaba ke omkhulu bethu baba abangani bethu yonke lento le asebengasekho emhlabeni kepha they've had a life experience. Ingakho sicela bona ke ngoba kunenkolelo ukuthi baseduze bona nomvelinqangi ngoba abasaphili enyameni. Remember ukuthi consciousness yethu yiyo esenza ukuthi esingene sivaleleke in the realm kamvelinqangi. So consciousness yethu is very, very important ngaso sonke isikhathi.
Thokoza mkhulu. I think I will also, because I will also organize another day when we can talk about itongo, itonga, idlozi, and then and have a specific day on talking just about that and explaining it in an appropriate way. Because the time, I think we've run out of time, and but it really needs to be elaborated further, and it raises other questions and all that. And also, and there's this one of ukuphahla. If we are available, maybe this coming Friday, while we're still in the same spirit of the spirit that we have, because it was only about visiting the grave. Somehow in the beginning, I wanted to confine the topic, confine us to a topic. My spirit didn't allow that, and then and now I see why it didn't allow that. And then then maybe if Mkhulu is available next week Friday, we can ask to have our topic as uphahla, and see how it takes us to.
No, in the best case, this is a concluder because siba busy nathi ngama-program, so mesinga schedule izinto singaxashani nezinto sizenzayo. Maybe in another 2 weeks, we can then schedule something, because njenganamhlanje bokumele siye Alexander, but ngeke bacela ukuthi amakhehla sila kunale interview. So kunama-program nje akhona, but sizobona nje ukuthi sischedule.
We play with yes, thank you so much. We've run out of time, and I know whenever Mkhulu is here, so we have so many questions that needs some clarity. And also now it's within COVID, and there is laws that are imposed on us, and in terms of umuntu alandwe just esibhedlela or mortuary, I mean, and goes to the grave or no much time of umlindelo and all that. And then and in all those things, in abiding by the rules, how does it affect, so our cultures, the way we are buried and all that in our point of departure?
No, it affects actually yonke lento ye-COVID is messing up impilo yomuntu omnyama, because sesigcina senza izinto ezi-wrong, and leyo nto, it has a long-term effect yethu. So as much as kuba nama-adjustment okumele sikwenze, but kumele siqaphele ukuthi we don't destroy the very little culture that remains, esenza ukuthi sikhone ukuphumelela siya phambili. So I would really truly advise ukuthi abantu bazame ukuthi, whatever difficulty ikhona, but akuzanywe ukuthi kwenze izinto ngokwendlela ngoba mase idlulile lento sizosala nazo zonke le inkinga lezi.
So would it be correct ukuthatha ihlahla and then so and use it if you've got knowledge of it, ulande umuntu emoshwari or umlande esibhedlela, and then so let's say from esibhedlela to emoshwari, from emoshwari to ekhaya, then to the grave, and then so
no. That is very important when I go and uzwake if kunama difficulty ukuthi niyongena emahotini whatever, zamani ukuthi niguqe within the confines of that mortuary or isibhedlela, so that abikelwe lo muntu ukuthi sila sizokulanda gibela. Thokoza.
Yes, thank you so much, Mkhulu. As always, we always appreciate your presence, and we may ask uGugu ukuthi asivalele ngomkhuleko, and then so yes. Gugu, are you still there? Maybe she's got challenges with network. iPhone, Gugu, she's
nabantu
I didn't get that. I didn't get that, Mkhulu.
No, ngithi in future nizama ukubalansa ke ngicela umunye umuntu ozosiphahlela angasithandazeli. Asikele so that singafitwa nje umthandazo
kuphela.
Yebo.
I've noted that you've got a special prayers that I was still gonna especially when you're here, and then so we use that kind of prayer to accommodate everybody. So I think I omitted that from my part, and then so maybe whenever Mkhulu is here, and then so we get somebody to teach us, can chat, can write on our channel.
Ngicela umphahlo lento kaJesu angihambelani nayo. So ngiyacela nje khona uthole nje umuntu ongangiphahlela. Thokoza.
Sicela umuntu ongasiphahlela angazi ukuthi ngaba ubani, so any volunteer can raise the hand and be able to uthasiphahlela.
Thokoza.
Anyone that wish to ukuthi asiphahlele, so sivala ngokuphahla. Oh, we'll go back to uvala ngemkhuleko.
Ngingavala gogo, Thokoza.
Thokoza mama. Thokoza.
Thokozani bogogo, thokozani bomkhulu. Sibitu Kamata, Sibitu Ramasedi, Sibitu Jehuti, Sibitu Nomkhumulwane, Sibitu Mlente Munye. Sithi makhehla hlanganani bogogo hlanganani, nisihole kulethuba esikulo, nisibonise nisikhanyisele imfundiso ebesingazazi, imfundiso ebezifihliwe zifihlelwe isizwe esimnyama, imfundiso ezatshontshwa eAfrika zayiswa kwamanye amazwe sesibuyiswa zingezinye inkulumo lapho singakhona ukuqhumana nani makhehla, singakhona ukuqhumana nawe Nomkhubulwano, singakhona ukuqhumana nawe Mlente Munye, nawe Mvelincane. Sitithola sidukile, sitithola asinakudla, sitithola asinamhlaba, sitithola asinatindlu, sitithola asinampilo, ngoba ulwazi lezihlahla luthethwe kithi bogogo nabomkhulu. Siyabonga imfundiso namhlanje esibuyisela emasisweni, esibuyisela kini nina eningasekho, ukuthi sinazi sinikhumbule yini enizosikhanyisela izindlela ezihamba kuzo, yini enizokwenza ukuthi sibone ukuthi ilikusasa leSouth Africa noma leAfrika lonke likuphi. Sibonga amandla abuya enganeni zakho, sibonga kuye umkhulu Nsingiza nenhlakanipho enimnikeze yona makhehla. Sibonga kuwe mkhulu Vusamazulu, wena owube umhlahlandlela, owube yisibane, owube ilambu lokukhanya kithi singama-Afrika, ngendlela yokuthi siwazi umdabu wethu, siyazi imvelo yethu, siyazi ukuthi onkulunkulu bethu onomkhubulwane, omvelinqandi, oma-art, siyazi indlela yesikhemet, simazi uTot, simazi uJehudi, simazi Osiris, simazi uSet. Thokozani Makhehla.
Thokoza gogo, thokoza.
Kamagu, Thokoza, Ndawuwe, Shewe.
Share. You know, this is the platform where it's not fixated to a certain religion. I really appreciate when we open, we close, not in the same same religion, Christianity, as it usually dominates. Whether it's Muslim way, if there's a Muslim person, whether it's our African way, it's most welcome. So this is a platform of tolerance, of learning, of unlearning, which is the most difficult part of in our lives, to unlearn what has been fed to us. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for your presence, the time spent together. And please have a good weekend, a safe weekend, and a productive week. Siyathokoza, Camagu. Thank you. Good night.